we're back for some midnight readings by Hack the File. Um, it's going to be a cool little series I'm doing because in the night I feel like reading, and they're just going to be little 30-minute readings just to kick back, maybe go to bed to or listen to, and something interesting. And I've got a bunch of books that I want to read, but I'm going to start off with this one just to get us started. And we're just, it's the deep dive of the dark web, just to learn a little bit more about the dark web, right? While we're just relaxing or going to bed. All right, here we go. So we're on chapter 3, a closer examination, shadows in the darkness. So who actually uses the dark web? Criminals? Hackers? Porn peddlers? The answer to this is yes, and also no. Fernando Quadavila, also known as the Hidden Service community as Dr. X, I think I read this part already, is a primary care physician in Madrid and also frequents the dark web to answer visitors. Questions about harm reduction. Because of the difficulty drug users face in getting, oh yeah, I read this. So we're at Alright. Using Tor can help keep your identity safe. A recent disturbing version of identity theft is medical theft. Oh, I read this one too. Where were we? Heroes of the Dark Web? Alright, let's start here. Law enforcement also uses the dark web, and with great effectiveness. While hidden service sites have the unsavory reputation of being lawless lands where murder for hire is advertised and child abuse is being promoted, law enforcement agents are actually helping steer what already is and could be even more in the future, an important territory for free speech and civil rights liberties, away from those who would do harm to their fellow citizens. Using a technique frequently used by hackers, FBI agents install malware that downloads onto computers accessing illegal sites, such as Playpen, and force these computers to reveal their actual address. With a second warrant, agents are able to arrest these users in their homes and stop them from contributing to the very real problem of human trafficking and child pornography. In the case of Playpen, the FBI's warrant allows them to harvest the IP addresses of 1,300 computers, resulting in the arrest of 137 people. As for Playpen, the site was seized by the FBI and was shut down. There's a picture of something. What the hell is that? Protesters? Environmental groups are increasingly coming under surveillance in the U.S. Under post 9/11 legislator Congressman Rob Bishop of Utah and Bruce Westerman of Arkansas gave WRI, World Resource Unit, an ultimatum to produce documents of their work in China and asked if anyone in their organization had registered as a foreign agent. WRI is well respected across the world as an international climate and environmental research group, and it reiterated its purpose and goal when asked about the accusatory letter sent to them. In addition to the WRI, the Center for Biological Diversity and the National Resources Defense Council came under Congressman Bishop's scrutiny for their work overseas. These organizations returned fire metaphorically when they stated that they're under no obligation to register as foreign agents when they do not work at the behest of the country in countries in which they are doing research, in this case China and Japan. Many believe these groups were targeted because of current negative light China's relation existing regarding U.S. foreign policy. In reality, the group insists it is a smokescreen to cover up the attempted silencing of groups critical of the U.S. federal government's attack the environment. U.S. federal governments attack the environment, hmm. and that is and that it harkens back to the Cold War when the U.S. government was accused of red baiting. On the Tor project website, stories of people around the world using Tor for good are shared. One such story of an environmental activist and journalist named John talks about his work in Uganda, ranked 117th in the World Press Freedom Chart, if you recall. John lives in Hoima, an oil city that uses Tor to anonymously publish his blog. Local police of Hoima frequently seize privately owned electronic equipment, forcing journalists to declassify their sources. Back in the US, small town activists are using dark web to share information in an attempt to free their communities from strangleholds by big corporations taking advantage of towns, small governments, and law enforcement. One anonymous woman said her work if her, said her work is if discovered could lead to harm or fatal accidents. Tor can also help employees circumvent blocked information by the companies or unions they work for. And many companies do retaliate. A Canadian internet service provider cut off access to its employees' own Onion site or Union website. I'm sorry. The Great Firewall of China. China tops Iran as the worst for online censorship. The news website ProPublica chose to move its contents to a .onion site on the Tor network after their own project, an interactive program called Inside the Firewall, inspired them to act regarding their own security and freedom of speech. The app revealed them the app revealed to them China's practicing of trafficking and censoring other countries' news sites within their border. ProPublica's Edwin Torres decided to see what happened if he used some ProPublica related content on the Tor network. In an effort to see if a viewer from a content restricted country such as China could actually have access to it. Promoting the website to create the Tor-based sister location, the .onion site for ProPublica is located at ProPub3R6ESPA33W Onion. In December 2015, the Chinese president gave a speech at China's second annual World Internet Conference. The message was respectful regarding other nations' use of the internet, but it carried a warning towards the citizens of China. And it continued the president's agenda of the Chinese internet being quarantine space, heavily censored and watched for anti-state activity. Chinese blog host Sina Weibo, its interface similar to the of Twitter's, had become a ghost town under the new, stricter government policies. Before Xi Jinping came to the mantle of China's highest office in 2012, the Chinese internet was markedly different. Bloggers had millions of followers and spoke their minds about political happenings. VPNs helped users access hidden sites, and astoundingly citizens networked to whistleblow the corrupt actions of authorities. Through the fear of being doxxed or arrested, though the fear of being doxxed or arrested was growing in the shadows of the days to come. Once Xi Jinping came into power, however, everything changed. The Chinese president holds that a citizen of the republic must not have a second self, or persona being online is no exception. They must uphold the values of the Chinese government at all times. There's no room for criticism or analysis. They simply do not possess the right to do such things. Try to imagine what it would be like to live according to those standards. I think about that all the time. If other people ruled this world, man, man, it'd be crazy. There's always some kind of damn downside to people ruling, man. There just always is. Try to imagine what it would be like living according to those standards. Xi Jinping's technological spearhead to invest in ways and means to monitor his country online activity is tremendous. Beyond being able to keep tabs on the citizens, the censorship efforts mean foreign countries are at a grave disadvantage to doing business in the Chinese soil, virtual or otherwise, often citing a sovereign right to control China's internet. Xi Jinping begins to sound arrogant and out of touch with reality as his neighbor Kim Jong Un. The developers credited for laying the foundation for what is now known as the Great Firewall of China is Fang Bengxi. After intensive funding and support from the Chinese government in 2000, Fang was instrumental in helping Beijing block Google for the first time in China's history. 2 years later, Google would hobble out a censored version of itself for China's use. In 2004, in an eerie similarity to the Russian bots who would come to plague the U.S. social media for forums during the 2006 presidential election, which according to Trump never happened. Chinese universities recruited students to go online and steer conversations revolving delicately around politics themes for favor the Chinese government. It would also report any illegal comments the students were reported to have paid a miserly 50 cents per post. Such repression always and inevitably leads to pushback. The human flesh search engine rose to popularity after a young woman was raped, received no justice. She was committed to an institution after telling authorities her plight, and a blogger brought her story to public light. Human flesh search engine is a phenomenon where internet users band together to track down and seek justice for criminals, vigilante style. It serves today, even having wrongfully exacted its punishment in 2017 for a police officer who mortally wounded a golden retriever. After further investigation, it turns out the police officer was mistaken for the dog's actual abuser, and a poor quality video of the attack. Dang. The search engine came into existence in 2001 on China's popular forum MOP, and while it rose to popularity because of the need for Chinese citizens to network without the dangerous and self-damning process of using a search engine on such a thoroughly monitored Chinese internet, instead they network with each other on personal websites and forums. Is now more frequently a series of public witch hunts resulting in doxing and seeking vigilante justice upon the wrong, innocent citizens. If found to be engaged in the practice of human flesh search, not searching for human flesh, mind you, just literally going person to person online for information, penalty is now severe, a 7-year prison term. Despite the potential consequences, public criticism of the practice in light of the wrong people being targeted, even threatening with physical injury and death, the human flesh search engine is as popular as ever. Damn. One of Xi Jinping's speeches was leaked to the public in 2013, and in that he revealed his vision as the internet is a place of battle. Chinese government weapons of choice, artificially constructed propaganda, included a music video introducing the viewers on how to properly speak to their leader. In 2015, most of the virtual private networks Chinese citizens had faithfully used to get around their government's restrictive practices, and the Great Firewall were thwarted. Even though the VPNs had become an integral part of both online business and commerce, the Great Cannon was introduced into the online battlefield, using the internet users' activities against them by capturing and rewriting online content. The Chinese search engine Baidu found its customers hacking during one of the first DDoS distributed denial of services attacks of the Great Cannon. The New York Times Chinese Mirror site and the GreatFire.org and anti-censorship media site were also attacked. Another, perhaps more insidious method of the Chinese government to control and punish illegal online content is to restrict internet-based rumors. The Chinese court ruled that if a web author content contains lies or rumors against the republic and was either shared 500 times or seen by 5,000 viewers, the author could face 3 years in prison. Damn. This practice seems particularly cruel when we stop to think about how essential and vital and active online community is during times of national crisis. When huge flooding in Hebei province prompted people to go online in search of news for their loved ones, the Great Firewall cracked down on reports of deaths, causing those trying to post current information and spreading rumors and false news. That's crazy. Today, the Great Firewall of China renders forbidden content either invisible to the users or excruciatingly slow to load. Few citizens even try to scale the wall, having had to submit to existing within the small virtual plot their government has allowed them. Chinese scholars and scientists have to work within the blockade vacuum of the internet, cut off completely from the wealth of information the rest of the world offers. In addition to China's restrictive practices hurting its students, researchers, and developers, its censorship stands to backfire against its goals to become a force to be reckoned with in the international markets. Its iron grip on the flow of online information is also its Achilles heel. The effect of the Great Firewall, and Great Cannon also contributed to a noticeable brain drain of Chinese students who go to study abroad but choose to not return due to the restrictions they'll face at home soil. Thus, China loses highly skilled labor every year, another conflict with its agenda for international business success. In 2012, China's Great Firewall was able to detect the Tor network because of the unusual and distinct pattern of data flow along the network's nodes and relays. To this day, China, along with Russia and Argentina, is proving to continue to be successful in blocking those who would use Tor. Man! But then they are. Picture of some guy. They don't even look Chinese. I don't know what's going on here. Alright. That was Hack the File, and let's see. We done? Oh, we're not done. We still got a couple more pages. Sorry. Life in a digital society. How free is our freedom of speech? The stories of employees being fired after posting their thoughts or feelings of companies that they work for are abundant. In most U.S. states, employees are at their workplace at will, meaning they can be fired for any reason or no reason at all. The First Amendment does not protect the worker in the workplace. There's even a term, "deuced," coined after a woman named Heather B. Armstrong was fired for her job after she was discovered to be the author of the popular blog Doce? Deuce? Deuce? Let me know how to pronounce it. So how to share personal insight about your life via blog without outing yourself and risking being part of letting go at work. Bloggers have been targeted for writing about unpopular opinions, standing up for rights for women, minorities, and other marginalized groups. When your freedom of speech comes at a cost of your life, what can you do? Using encryption software, you can either render your email address anonymously, temporarily, or every time you log in, such as Mint Email, RiseUp, and Hushmail. Remember, whenever you're using searches such as these, you're diving beneath the surface web and populating the deep web, making your IP address during your entire blogging session be accomplished by using, of course, Tor, but it can also be accomplished by using an anonymous proxy server. For instance, HideMe. While nothing guarantees a blogger absolute anonymity, especially if the blogger uses a Google-based platform, Google has been pressured to reveal the identity of some of its users in the courtroom. And even Matt Zimmerman, senior staff attorney at the Electronic Frontier Foundation, not to be confused with the founder of Facebook, says that no tool utilized to mask a person's online identity is 100% effective. Therefore, going deep before you publish your thoughts might be worthy practice to consider. There he is, walking down the street. Alright, well, that's enough for today. Hope you enjoyed that. I kind of learned a little bit about China and, how crazy of a task, But it's funny that the Chinese have always been up for the task of tremendous things. Like even building the Great Wall of China took what, 500 years or something like that. And can you imagine, like, for us to accomplish something like that? I think it would be almost impossible because the way our system is set up. So let's say a president starts something like that, right? Starts something. It would take another president, the next one, to fund it, and so on and so forth. And we'll have to keep being funded until its completion. Can you imagine how, in 500 years, if we're still even here, how many, hopefully, how many presidents that will have to be approved by? So it kind of seems impossible, but the Chinese are just so damn remarkable that they're able to do that. Now to accomplish great things like that, they have to all be unified, right? And so that's why they have that, all these rules of not talking against the republic and all that, and this and that. It's because they need to keep it sewn up. I see the Chinese as one mind, one purpose. And if you have one mind, one purpose, so when you're, you know, like when they built the Great Wall of China, the next guy that came in had to unify everybody, and they had to keep going and agree to keep building that until it was done. I mean, that's a remarkable achievement, just by sociology terms, right? And now they might not have freedom and all that. That's terrible, but it's like the way they do things. They literally are maintaining the Great Wall of the Great Firewall. I mean, that's insane to think about how they can do that. I mean, but they're doing it. Is it good? Probably not, right? But from our point of view of having freedom, it's not good. But from the point of view of tremendous things they're doing and actually pulling off that would be otherwise impossible anywhere else, they're actually doing it. It's kind of incredible. Now going back to what Einstein said, Einstein said he couldn't imagine living in a world that was ran by the Chinese. Um, that being said, can you imagine a whole world being ran by the Chinese? Let's just say hypothetically, and them having the whole world as one mind, one purpose for the republic. I don't even know how that would be. You'd either accomplish incredible things in this on this earth. Um, I know that for a fact, but I don't think it would work, right? 'Cause a lot of us don't think like that. We want freedom. So, all right, that was Hector File, and I hope you enjoyed this midnight readings, and I'll see you next time.